What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers. This is my DraftKings MMA picks video for UFC 305. We have Israel Adesanya going against Dricus du Plessis. We're in Perth, Australia for a very fun pay-per-view card and a card that I'm really looking forward to here. Before we get into it, if you guys could please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you have not already, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. That's where you'll find all my other content with the DraftKings stuff. You got the fighters' stats, the targets, projections, ownership projections, the rankings, the lineup optimizer, the DraftKings article, the prize picks article, and much, much more on there. Check it out, dfsbythenumbers.com. And then also check out prize picks. Right now, if you take code DFSBTN and put that in there and make your deposit, if you place a $5 lineup, you'll actually get a free $50. So use that code DFSBTN, place a $5 lineup, and you'll get a free $50 to use on prize picks this weekend. And also, they do have a free Israel Adesanya free square as well. So check it out, promo code DFSBTN. Other than that, be on the lookout for more content throughout the week. Got the final thoughts coming up on Friday. Got the best bet live stream on Saturday and all that good stuff. As always, like, subscribe as well. And I say we get right into it. And we're going to start with the fight doesn't go to decision lines here. And up top, we have a big one here. We got Tom Nolan going against Alex Reyes. And yeah, I think fight doesn't go decision being at minus 1,600 is appropriate. I think this fight probably shouldn't be happening. I'm not sure why they're doing this to Alex Reyes, but here we are. For me, Tom Nolan is 9,800, and if you can fit him in, he's probably going to get a first-round knockout, and he may even have a 60-second, finish upside here. It's just whenever somebody is 9,800, it's not going to be easy to make the optimal lineup. It all depends on, will some of these underdogs come through? And this week, I think so. I think there's a lot of underdogs sticking out. So, yeah, I was able to get to a decent amount of Tom Nolan. I don't think he's going to be overly high-owned because I think a lot of people are going to try to get away from him. But like I said, I think if a couple of these dogs do come through, Tom Nolan should be fine this week. So yeah, I like Tom Nolan, 9,800. As far as Alex Reyes, I'm not going to touch it, but hey, he's 6,400, but I'm more so on Nolan myself. Next, we have Jairzinho Rozenstruik going against Tai Tuivasa, minus 600 for the fight doesn't go. Great fight to target on both sides. With Rozenstruik, 8,900. I think he's minus 200 on the money line. I think his inside the distance prop is like minus 150, so he is favored to not only win this fight, but finish this fight. And yeah, we've seen Tai Tuivasa finished in his last 4 losses, so yeah, if you're liking Rozenstruik, he probably goes out there and gets a finish. For me personally, though, this price savings on Tuivasa is very intriguing to me because at the end of the day, these two are big heavyweights that hit hard. These guys are going to stand in the middle and swing. So I think this major, price savings on Tuivasa is very interesting. So yeah, a fight that I like, a fight that I think finishes, but I would be kind of more interested in Tuivasa there at the price. Next, we got Jack Jenkins going against Herbert Burns, another fight that I don't think should probably be happening. I'm not sure why they're bringing, Herbert Burns out to Australia here, but, they are, and Jack Jenkins is like minus 800, something like that. And, yeah, kind of the same thing with Tom Nolan. Only thing is Jack Jenkins is 200 cheaper, and then on top of that, I think if Jack Jenkins is winning this fight, it's going to probably be in the second or third round. So I still think Jenkins is safe outside of like an early finish for Burns, which we'll talk about. I think Burns, as far as a dart throw goes, at 6,600 is the best dart throw on the board because Herbert Burns, if he is winning this fight, first and foremost, he's extremely cheap. And if he wins this fight, it's probably going to be a first-round sub. So I'm definitely going to be more so on Jenkins. I think Jenkins weathers the early storm and gets a finish in the second or third. But, Herbert Burns as a dart throw makes some sense this week. And then we got Prochas. We got the Leech versus Prochas here. This is a fight actually where I'm actually picking it to go the distance. I'm picking a Carlos Prochas by decision. And it's a fight that I'm kind of getting away from a DraftKings perspective. If anything, I might actually take a look at the Leech here at 7,000. The reason being, I think Prochas has no grappling upside. I think this fight takes place on the feet. Prochas has just been low volume. He's going out there and finishing guys, but he's finishing Charles Racky and Officer Trevin Giles, and I'm not sure he's going to knock out the Leech, who's never been knocked out in 27 fights. So I kind of like Prochas to win a decision, a striking-based decision. And if that's the case, I'm not sure he pays off this $9,200 price tag. But the Leech, if he's winning, maybe it's by finish. Carlos Prochas, 6 losses, 5 actually come inside the distance. So not a fight I'm in love with from a DraftKings perspective, but the 3 above them are fights I'm going to be heavily exposed to. Let's get into the core plays here. We will start with Jack Jenkins. Yeah, I think Burns is sub 1 or bust. I think you have to have some sprinkles and shares of Burns, but there's just a lot going against Burns here. The long flight to Perth, Australia. He's now 36 years old. He's coming off of back-to-back knockout losses in the second round. I've heard he's been dealing with some injuries, some surgeries. It's not good. So I think Jack Jenkins, outside of a Burns sub 1, should just completely dominate this fight and get a finish. Second round, maybe could even be in the first. So I like Jack Jenkins here, 9,600. Dricus du Plessis, 7,900. So this is a main event where I've been going back and forth in terms of picking a winner, and I actually ended up picking Adesanya by decision. But from a DraftKings perspective, in my opinion, all the upsides on Dricus, and here's why. Dricus is, the higher volume striker. Dricus has more power. I think if there's a finish in this fight, it's more likely going to be Dricus. And then Dricus has all the wrestling and grappling upside. So, and he's the underdog as well. So from a DraftKings perspective, it's like, I think there's a lot of reasons to like Dricus du Plessis here. Most importantly, though, that wrestling upside. I think he's going to want to go out there, attempt takedowns, get takedowns, and I think those takedowns could add up. And I think worst case scenario here for Dricus is he might lose a decision. I like Dricus du Plessis, 7,900 from a DraftKings perspective. I think he has all the DraftKings upside here. We've seen Adesanya just go out there and just score horribly in fights. We've seen him go out there and put up 50, 60 points in like 5-round fights. So it's I think Dricus has the upside here. Next we got Junior Tafa, 8,200. This is another fight I think is a really good one to target. I love targeting these binary fights, these striker versus grappler type fights, and this is one of them. If Junior Tafa is winning this fight, I think it's by knockout. And if Walter Walker wins this fight, who we'll talk about, I think it's going to be a wrestling-based decision. And at these salaries, 8,200 for Tafa, 8,000 for Walker, I think there's a good chance somebody could end up on the optimal lineup. Somebody can go out there and score well, whether it's a Tafa knockout or a Walker, just wrestling-based, control-based decision there. So I like Tafa. He is my preferred play in that fight, and I think he's live for the knockout at some point. And then Stuart Nickel, 9,000. Yeah, I'm hoping Stuart Nickel might come in a little bit lower owned because he is making his debut. Maybe people don't know about him. He's also the first fight of the card. On top of that, we have, I think, guys surrounding him like Prochest and Rosenstruck and even Gamrot, and you got Jenkins up there. I think we might get some low ownership on Nickel, and I like him here in this matchup. I think stylistically it's a good spot for him here. He's going against Jesus Aguilar, who can't defend a takedown. Aguilar's been submitted in both of his losses. Nickel has good wrestling, really good ground and pound. He's active with the ground and pound as well, and then also a black belt in BJJ. So yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons to like Nickel here at 9,000. I think he can win a wrestling-based decision or get a submission win or maybe even a TKO. So I like Nickel here at 9,000. Next, we got the GPP Plays here, 9,800. We got Tom Nolan. I think he's in play this week, personally. I guess you could maybe try to fade him, but it's just so obvious it's going to be like a first-round knockout. Maybe get a knockdown or two in there. And like I said, it could even come in 60 seconds. Like, I remember, people were trying to fade Talbot the last time out at I think it was 9,700 or 9,800, and Talbot got the 60-second fin. Like, that can happen here. So if you can afford him, I would put him in there. I had no problem getting him into my lineups personally with all the underdogs I'm liking this week, so I'm going to play him. I'm not going to look to fade Nolan this week, but I know a lot of people will look to fade Nolan. Jairzinho Rozenstruik we talked about a little bit. I think somebody's getting finished here. Somebody's getting knocked out. Rozenstruik is certainly in play at 8,900. Josh Culibao, 8,500. Another sneaky fight to target here, the Culibao-Ramos fight, because, in Culibao, you have the more durable guy here. I'm kind of worried about Ricardo Ramos. When Ramos is losing fights, he's getting finished. He's been submitted 2 or 3 times in the UFC. He's been knocked out 2 or 3 times in the UFC. I'm really worried about the mindset of Ricardo Ramos. I'm worried about the durability. I think Ramos might have a little bit of quit in him. So I think Josh Culibao, if he's winning this fight, it might come by finish at 8,500. And I don't think this fight is going to be that high owned. So I don't mind some Culibao there at 8,500. And I don't mind some of the fight in general at these salaries. And then Mateus Gamrot at 9,300. We got to talk about him a little bit because he's going to go out there and he's going to try to take down Hooker the entire time. This is a guy in Gamrot who's attempting like 15 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's getting 5 of them per 15 minutes. He's going to wrestle. And of course, those takedowns, the control time is going to add up. I don't necessarily see a finish, but if he does go out there and wrestle hard for 15 minutes, he could score decently. There are some spots I do like more than Gamrot this week for sure, but I think he's certainly in play at 9,300. Next, we have the Prize Picks play of the week, and it is going to be the Adesanya more than 0.5 significant strikes. I'm liking this spot, obviously, a lot. He just needs one significant strike, and there's also another spot on Prize Picks that I'm liking a lot as well. So I might do like a two-piece play here, maybe a three. But yeah, the two spots I'm really liking this week on Prize Picks for sure, and of course this is one of it's a free square. So if you guys want to check out this free square, use code DFSBTN, and on top of that, if you place a $5 lineup, could be on any sport, you'll get a $50 free entry there. So check it out, Prize Picks, use code DFSBTN. All right. Moving on to the live dogs, I think there's a bunch of them this week. The first one we'll talk about, Walter Walker. Like I said, if he's winning this fight, I think it's going to be takedowns, control time, and maybe even like a finish. Like maybe Tafa's ground game is so bad that Walter Walker could even get a finish here. So I think it's, Walker, he has a path to put up a solid score here, and he's pretty cheap as well. So definitely in play at 8,000. Ricardo Ramos, 7,700. Yeah, I think he's in play as well. I worry about his mindset, his durability. But, skill for skill, I think it's a close fight. And on top of that, Ramos is the underdog here, and I think he has all the grappling upside. Like, Ramos is landing 3 takedowns per 15 minutes. I remember there was that one fight with Bill Algeo where he got like 9 or 10 takedowns, and we could see Ramos come out here and wrestle his way to a decision, and that could be solid at 7,700. So don't mind Ramos. Worried about him a little bit, but he is the underdog here. Casey O'Neill, 7,600. I think O'Neill's going to be a pretty popular dog by the looks of it. I mean, the money line's completely crashed down. And, yeah, I think O'Neill's a solid look on DraftKings this week, and she's just so high volume. Like, if she wins this fight, I think she's going to score a ton. I think if she wins this fight, she's absolutely paying off this price tag. She's landing almost 9 significant strikes per minute. She's going to be the hometown fighter here. Luana Santos is coming in here on short notice, making the long trip. So, yeah, I think O'Neill is a decent play here. You get 1,000 price savings off of Luana Santos. Yeah, I don't mind O'Neill at this price tag. And then Tai Tuivasa, 7,300. I think there's some value here just due to the fact that these are, big dudes going to swing it out. Both guys hit hard. And I don't think it would shock anybody if Tai Tuivasa had knocked out Rozenstruik. We saw Volkov knock out Rozenstruik, and if Volkov's knocking you out, Tai Tuivasa hits, very, very hard himself. So I like Tai Tuivasa as a cheap live dog. Moving on to the pump plays. Herbert Burns, dart throw, pump play, 6,600. If he's winning, it's a submission in the first round, and that's about it. Of course, there's a lot of concern. There's a ton of, I can probably make a whole video of the amount of concerns of Herbert Burns, but that's why he's a pump play here. That's why he's a dart throw. Sprinkle a little bit just in case. Jack Jenkins, he's been finishing all of his losses. Jack Jenkins has been subbed twice. Herbert Burns, if he gets on top, if this fight hits the mat, he will be live, but it has to happen early. But I will be sprinkling some Herbert Burns. And then the fade for me, maybe a hot take, but I'm fading Carlos Prates here. I think he wins this fight. I think he wins it by decision, but I think he wins it by decision. I absolutely don't think he's grappling the Leech here. And I'm not convinced he knocks out the Leech early or really at all. And if he doesn't, we could see a fight go 15 minutes where Prates has just been very, very low volume. Like even in the Racky fight, the round was about to end and he was only at 14 significant strikes. On the Contender Series, didn't land a ton in the first round. And the Giles fight landed pretty much nothing the entire fight until he found the knockout in the second round. So I think Prates is a little knockout dependent in terms of scoring well here. And I'm not sure he knocks out the Leech, at least early on. So I'm fading Carlos Prates this week. And there you guys have it. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys could like the video on the way out, subscribe to the channel. Be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Most of the content is out for this week. DraftKings article and Prize Picks article will be out soon as well. And yeah, looking forward to it. I think it's a solid card. I like this card a lot from a DraftKings perspective and looking to hopefully make some money for this card here. Best of luck, everybody, and we'll talk to you soon. See you.